Hi again, it's Miss Lingard and I'm here with my final book recommendation and opening few pages today. As you can see, this is a book called Apple and Rain by Sarah Crossan. It was shortlisted for the Carnegie Medal in 2015 when it first came out, but it's a book that is really popular, really interesting read again, as they always are. I'm not going to pick things that aren't interesting, am I? So I'm just going to show you again a little bit of detail about the book that we've got here. So let me share this with you, and so it's just about this girl who's called Apple, having these issues because obviously her mum left her, and she wants to know, why did mum go and why did she leave her, and having to cope with those things. And it's a really interesting book because it's partly written in prose, but there's also the fact that as a way of coping, Apple writes a lot of poetry, and so there's a real mixture of writing in prose and poetry to express her feelings. So I'm going to read you a little bit from the start of this, and hopefully that will motivate you to perhaps go and get this out of the library and to have a read. Okay, so this is Apple and Rain. I don't know if what I remember is what happened or just how I imagine it happened now I'm old enough to tell stories. I've read about this thing called childhood amnesia. It means we can't remember anything from when we were really small, because before 3 years old, we haven't practiced the skill of remembering enough to be able to do it very well. That's the theory, but I'm not convinced. I have one memory from that time. It never changes. And if I wanted to make up memories, wouldn't they be good ones? Wouldn't all my childhood stories have happy endings? I woke up crying. I could hear angry voices downstairs and thunder outside. I got up and stumbled onto the landing. A white gate was attached to the newel post to stop me tumbling down the stairs. I couldn't figure out how to open it, no matter how hard I tried. I wasn't wearing socks. My feet were cold. I carried a white blanket that dragged across the floor. Two figures stood by the front door under a sprig of mistletoe, their faces in shadow. I whimpered. Nana looked up. Back to bed, pet, she said. Go on now. Can't sleep, I said. Nana nodded. I know. I could never sleep before Christmas Day either. I shook my head. It was nothing to do with Christmas. I just didn't want to go back to bed. The thunder sounded like it might blast through my bedroom window. And why was everyone shouting? I started to cry again. I wanted the person in the green coat next to Nana to turn around, because although I could tell from her long hair and narrow waist she was a woman, I couldn't see her face. But she wouldn't look up. She was staring at the doormat and holding tight to the handle of a suitcase. I'll call you in a few days, a voice from inside the green coat whispered, and I knew then it was my mum. Mummy, I said. She opened the front door with her free hand. When Nana tried to stop her stepping into the night, she shrieked and pushed my grandmother against the mirror on the wall. Stop trying to ruin my life, my mum shouted. The wind slammed open the door. Rain came thrashing into the hall. The air smelled especially salty. Finally, Mum turned and saw me, but she didn't smile or wave or blow me a kiss. She stared like I was something strange and said so sad that she couldn't decipher. Then she sniffed and turned and left, banging the door behind her. And it was quiet again. No shouting, and no thunder either. Mummy, I whispered. Mummy's gone, pet, Nana said. She climbed the stairs, opened the gate at the top and lifted me into her arms. She was shaking. Her eyes were wet. It's you and me now. You and me, okay? Mummy, I repeated. Let's go to bed, Nana said, and in the morning we'll see what Santa brought you. But I didn't care about Santa's presents. All I could think about was what had been taken away. Again and again I've asked Nana about the Christmas Eve that Mum left. I want to understand why she walked out. But when Nana tells me what happened, she makes it all Mum's fault. Mum was the one who ran off to New York to be on Broadway without once thinking about the child she'd left behind. And every year when Christmas rolls around, it's the memory of that night. Mum in her green coat and the thunder crashing around the house that consumes me. I'm not waiting a minute longer, Nana calls. Another 30 seconds, I shout. I pull my purple hoodie over my head. I'm counting to 10, Nana replies. I tumble out of my room and down the stairs. Nana is brushing her black coat free of Derry's hairs. I take my whole scarf from the hall stand and wrap it around my neck a few times. Nana's been spending the morning peeling parsnips and potatoes for dinner. The Brussels sprouts are soaking in broth and the turkey is slow cooking in the oven. The whole house smells of orange and cranberry stuffing. Unlike me, Nana still loves Christmas. Every year she plays her favourite carols on repeat and turns the volume up really loud when In the Bleak Midwinter comes on. The sound of her singing fills the whole house and forces me to hide out with Derry, our Labrador, in my room. Nana isn't much of a singer, but she's very enthusiastic. Nana leaves a clothes brush on the hall table and tucks her feet into a pair of navy low-heeled slip-ons. Where do you think you're going in those? She says. She points at my trainers. I don't answer because it's a rhetorical question. She uses them when she's annoyed. We're going to Mass and it's Christmas. They're comfortable and they're only a bit scuffed, I say. Derry sniffs my feet, giving away the fact they probably smell. I shoo him away with the toe of one trainer. I don't mind what you wear as long as it's clean, and those old things are not clean. Wear some nice shoes, please, she says in her soft Irish voice that's both gentle and firm. The only nice shoes I have are heavy and blister my heels. I'm about to tell Nana this when her eyes meet a spot on my hoodie. Now come on, Apple, what are you playing at? You don't have a cleaved top on either, she asks. I scratch at the spot where I dripped egg yolk this morning. I'd forgotten about it. And you'd think by Nana's tone and big bulging eyes that the blotch was poisonous. It's my favourite top, I say, and I want to wear it. I want to wear it with my smelly trainers. Get yourself up those stairs immediately and change, young lady, Nana says. She pinches her mouth into a prune. When she does this, there's no arguing. When she does this, I always wish my mum was still here. In my room, I squeeze into a dress and a pair of too tight lace-up shoes. The last time I wore this outfit was 6 months ago to Nana's friend's funeral. Since then, Nana hasn't stopped talking about death. She says things like, oh, you'll miss me when I'm 6 feet under like poor Marjorie. Or, I don't want everyone wearing black to my funeral, Apple. A bit of pink here and there won't harm. It's not good for a 13-year-old to be around someone who thinks she's going to drop dead any second. I told Nana as much and she laughed, flipping her head back and showing off her black fillings and missing teeth. But I didn't understand what was so funny. When I get back downstairs, Nana is penning Derry into the kitchen. His golden hair is all over her coat again. Much better, Nana says, seeing me. I go to Derry and kiss his silky ears. He turns and slobbers all over my mouth. Nana grimaces. Oh, Apple, he licks his boy bits and then you let him lick your face. It's disgusting. Nana double locks the front door and hurries ahead of me down the path to the car. Seagulls squawk and circle in the sky. A fog is climbing up the hill from the beach. I slip into the back seat because Nana still won't let me ride with her in the front and do up my belt. My feet already feel cut up from the shoes. I can hardly breathe in the dress. Do you think she might come home today? I ask. Who? Nana says. I don't reply. She studies me in the rearview mirror. I don't think so, Apple. Do you? I shake my head. I know Mum isn't going to magically show up today or any other day. Just because she left at Christmas doesn't mean that that's when she'll come back. And who knows? She might never come back at all. And obviously we need to kind of read on a little bit further to find out about Mum's homecoming and how Apple manages to cope with that after having so many years without her. Hope that's giving you a little bit of a response. Definitely worth going and getting that one out of the library. It's a great read, definitely recommended. Hope you enjoy it.